Hello fellow gamers, welcome to Azreality Gaming. My name is Dustin, and today we're going to be doing a review of the Warlock class for Baldur's Gate 3. We're going to be looking at the different races that are good for it, abilities, traits, spells, and what you need to do to be able to have the best Warlock class for the campaign. Of course, this is only for early access, so keep that in mind. I'm sure things will change once the game releases later on and we have probably more abilities thrown in there. But for now, this will get you started and get you well on your way. Be sure and stay until the end to watch footage of my Warlock playing through the campaign as well. Alright, let's get into it. First up, we'll be needing to select a background. The choice you make will ultimately affect what skills you'll have proficiency in, which means you'll get a bonus to your skill checks. Warlocks are a charisma-based class, and choosing skills that benefit from high charisma will help boost your success chances when confronting challenging dialogue. Anything with intimidation, persuasion, or deception will be a great start. Probably the most important part of the class is picking the correct race. You'll want the highest charisma possible to get the most damage bonuses available when you attack with your spells and ability checks. Good first choices are the Tiefling with a +2 bonus to charisma and a +1 to intelligence with a base of 14 starting charisma. A straight up drow or high elf won't get you the +2 bonus to charisma that we're looking for, so if you're trying to min-max, probably not the best option. Although any of the half-elf races will work perfectly, and if you really want to play the dark drow race, you can choose the half-drow. I always adjust the wisdom bonus and put into constitution to help increase your bonus hit points and concentration checks. Many of the good warlock spells are concentration based, so the high constitution helps to keep them up and running. Next up is the warlock subclass options. During early access, there isn't a lot of options here, and the only one with a bonus feature is the fiend option, which gets you access to the Darkborn's Blessing. It helps to boost your hit points while you are finishing off monsters. For spells, we'll start with the cantrips. And really, the most important part of the Warlock build is choosing Eldritch Blast. This does 1d10 damage and uses your Charisma modifier for attack rolls. This is a cantrip, so it doesn't count against how many spells you cast per day. So you can keep casting this as many times as you want. At high levels, you'll get to add an additional blast, but in early access you are currently capped at level 4, so won't see that benefit quite yet. Your other cantrip choice is really up to you, but I prefer another attack spell with a different damage type, as the case with Chill Touch against undeads. Your first level spells, we have a couple of crucial options. Hex is an absolute must, which can be cast as a bonus action and recast again on another if that creature dies by your hand. Here's an example of a concentration spell that needs to remain in place for the highest possible damage output. Your second choice again is kind of up to you, but I like to use an AoE spell if possible, as you don't have access to many of those in this build. Skills are an important part of the character too, and shouldn't be overlooked, keeping in mind that it benefits you to choose skills with charisma-based modifier. Assigning the correct ability points at this stage has limited options, but maxing out your charisma so you start with 17 is crucial because after you level up a few times, you'll get a chance to increase that up to 18 and get your +4 modifier instead of the +3 at 17 charisma. Dexterity is also important as it increases your AC and gives you bonuses to your initiative, which determines what order in combat you get to go, and we always want to try to go first. When you reach level 2, you are given the option of new spells and Eldritch Invocations, which are like special abilities your demonic patron provides you. You must pick Agonizing Blast as your first choice, as it adds your Charisma modifier, currently a +3, to your damage rolls for your Eldritch Blast. So now you do 1d10 +3 at level 2. Your second choice is debatable, and many suggest Beguiling Influence for the dialogue skill checks you can manipulate in your favor. My choice for second best pick is Repelling Blast, as you'll be pushing enemies away from you and sometimes off large cliffs for extra fall damage, and sometimes just negating all combat entirely if you push them off into like a black hole kind of a spot. This ability really shines with your Eldritch Blast, as you always want to take the higher ground in combat, and if an enemy rushes up to you, you can smack him back down away from you. This allows you to remain mobile with no enemies in your face, and you can avoid issues with opportunity of attacks if you do try to move around tactically. At this level, you get to choose another first level spell. You can choose to pick a defensive spell here, like the Armor of Agathys, or increase your movement speed with Expeditious Retreat. Many encounters are won with good positioning, so being able to move further is a great benefit at this level. Each level you can choose to replace a previously picked spell, but at this point we won't need to do that. At level 3, you get a boon, and currently there is only one choice available, which is Pact of the Chain, which allows you to summon a familiar to help in combat. I usually never cast this, as I'm always saving my spell slots for Hex and Misty Step, a new spell for you to pick at this level. This allows you even greater mobility to teleport to higher ground in an instant. We can choose to replace our Expeditious Retreat at this point, since we have Misty Step now, as our mobility option. I like to sometimes pick Rail and Field Movement here, as you'll start facing off against stronger boss type monsters at this level of the game. This helps put them in check and back down to your level. The other added benefit for picking a half drow is the additional spell Fairy Fire, which is an AoE that covers the enemies in a light that gives you advantage on your attack rolls, and also helps your party on the attack rolls too. This means you get to roll twice and keep the highest roll. Finally, at level 4, the current level cap in early access, you get to choose an additional cantrip. Blade Ward can be a great choice as it gives resistance to certain attack types and keeps you alive longer. True Strike is great because it can give you advantage on your attacks, but is a concentration spell, and you can only have one concentration spell at a time. So if you previously cast Hex, you'll not be able to cast this one. Another first level spell choice here to round out your character. I don't think you need another damage type of spell. You'll only be casting Eldritch Blast from now on, so things like invisibility to sneak around areas before combat so you can know where the best areas are to attack from, or to bypass whole areas if you don't want to get drawn into a long battle. Blindness can be great as it limits the ability to attack in combat. Of course, the monster can shake off the effect each turn by making saving throws, and so I don't like spells that give enemies a chance to avoid an effect altogether. Mirror Image is another great defensive option, as it summons 3 duplicates of yourself that basically take the hits when something else is attacking you. There's no need to replace any spells at this level unless you feel the need. Now on to the feats, which there are many options. Usually you get to increase 2 ability stats, but there are also other options available, like increasing your proficiency to cast a low-level cleric or wizard spell. But as tempting as this is, we won't want to choose that, because we really want to increase our charisma all the way up to 18, as this is the level that we can do that. So choose to add +1 to charisma, and then maybe +1 to constitution, and now you'll have that +4 to damage to Eldritch Blast and +4 to attack rolls. This sets you up nicely for when Larian Studios increases the level cap beyond level 5, and you start getting that extra Eldritch Blast that I spoke of earlier about, and you can start really slinging out some damage. The goal, of course, at much higher levels is to increase your charisma up to 20, which is the max, and that would give you +5 bonus damage and to your attack. Here's some gameplay of my Warlock blasting enemies off of rocks and avoiding unnecessary damage. Also, the use of Hex increases the damage they take by an additional 1d4, so with any enemy hexed, you get a solid blast off on them. They'll be able to take 1d10 +4 from the blast, and then an additional 1d4 from the Hex. Also, if you manage to knock them off of an extreme height, they should take some falling damage too. I'm not 100% certain on this function yet in the game, but it is early access and it should be fixed eventually. Well, there you have it, the Warlock class build guide for Baldur's Gate 3 early access. What did you guys think? Would you have done something different? Maybe a different combination of spells or traits or skills? Let me know in the comments below. If you like these videos, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're interested in seeing more content like this, and share with your friends. Also be sure to follow me on my social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, which I stream on the weekends. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.